All right, music fans, welcome. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for a few real people out there, just like you and just like me. Thanks for being here. The topic here, do people actually believe Pete Townshend? That is the question and the topic of this video. Before I get there, and this isn't a coincidence, the album that I'm promoting, Snakes in Paradise. No, it's about politicians in the state of Hawaii. Just kidding. Step into the Light is the name of the CD. If you like the music of Bad Company or Whitesnake, the snake reference is really a reference toward Whitesnake more than anything else. Some really great music on this album. Not the entire album, but I would say 70% of it is a home run. A couple of tracks really should have been on the radio. This came out a number of years ago when I started doing this, and I just got into it. I think it was the summer of 2018 or 2017, and they haven't released anything since. But the band has a history using the word snake in the title of their various band formations. So check out Snakes in Paradise. I think you'll like it. If not, then I'll give you a full refund. All right. So Patreon, if you want to offset that. That makes no sense. But if you want to donate to Patreon, and YouTube members also get early watching privileges. So if you Google allegations against Pete Townshend, you get quite a few links. Pete Townshend breaks his silence on scandal. It's I have to be very careful with this word because this word will trigger the demonetization of the video. Pete was accused of doing something, looking at something online, used his credit card to access the website. And if you've seen the movie The Sound of Freedom, maybe put those two things together. Daltrey still supports Pete Townshend. Although Roger has said that Pete Townshend's arrest, and he was arrested at one point, was the lowest point of his career. So it was back in 2003. So we're basically the 20-year anniversary of this. And this never really went away. The Who played the Super Bowl, believe it or not. That's crazy to think about, back in 2010. And there were people there that were protesting the fact that Pete Townshend was on stage because of this investigation, which went on in 2002 and 2003. The British police, as part of Operation O-R-E, after admitting he used his credit card to gain access to this particular site, the guitarist was placed on a bleep offenders list, all right? And that register he was on for 5 years. It's crazy. Pete initially claimed that his actions were part of a research campaign against child abuse. Now, do you believe that? Do you believe that portion? I mean, why would you use your credit? Why would you even... You've got to be smarter. First of all, if you're going to do this to begin with, why? You should find someone else's credit card to use. There's got to be somebody and just say, hey, I need to use your credit card. Throw them right under the bus. And by the way, I'm not saying he should have used anybody's credit card. This is despicable if this is what happened, and it kind of looks like this is what happened. So Roger Daltrey was asked, what's the lowest point of your career when Pete was arrested in 2003? He says, not only did I know it was completely out of character for Pete, I felt for everyone affected by it. Now, again, the way he says this is very diplomatic. He says, I think it was out of character for Pete. He never said here that he didn't think Pete could have or did do it. He goes on to say, I know how it affected my family, and I thought about his family and the people that love him. It was an incredibly painful period for all of us. Remember, again, Pete says he used his credit card to do this for quote unquote research purposes. This is why I ask in this video, do people believe Pete Townshend? I kind of don't, just being honest with you. Asked on what he's most proud of in his life, Daltrey replied, that's an easy one. My family, The Who, and my managing to get the teenager cancer trust thing out to America, recognized for the work they do. I'm as driven by that now as I was ever driven by The Who. It's kind of like Eric Clapton and his Crossroads Foundation to help people sober up and get off certain substances. Apparently, Roger has a similar important thing that he is doing with teenage cancer. Good for him. When asked if Roger Daltrey believed in God, and I'm just going on with this article because it's interesting, going to church and singing in the choir was part of my life, so I must have done at some time, meaning he must have believed in God, but he says, I don't know. Yeah, these guys really need a relationship with Jesus. And I say that not in this preachy kind of way, but everybody, all they do is think about their own life. They don't think about what comes next, especially Pete Townshend, right? I mean, everybody. Why am I saying especially Pete Townshend? That doesn't make sense. But if Pete did do this, right, he can be forgiven. But he probably also needs to get help if he hasn't already gotten the help. But a lot of people, I don't know if they bought this story, but the rock media, they don't want to talk about this. They really don't want to talk about this. They could ask a question here or there, but they don't. And look, I'm a huge fan of The Who. So this is really difficult. I think The Who probably in the top 5 rock bands ever, at least top 10, right? I mean, you look at certain bands. The Who these days, too, have really been focus tested out of existence. And I don't know if that's because of what Pete may or may not have done. It's sad if that's true, because Pete probably did a lot of damage to the Who brand, but people were very eager to come and see the Who. They know that this is going away soon, even though they're contemplating on what they want to do next. He says here, Pete Townshend, I think it's time for Roger and I to go to lunch and have a chat about what happens next. It's a question of really, is it going to be feasible? Would it be lucrative? And would it be fun? So he and Roger at some point are going to sit down and talk about it. I know Roger Daltrey, when Pete Townshend was a little off and on about the Who, Roger was out there on his own. And he said, I've got to keep singing or I'm going to lose what's left of my voice. I think both guys are 78 years old. It's tough. This is a tough catalog. Roger does, I would say, a 70 to 80% excellent job still singing these songs. And some of them are very difficult to sing. So good for him. He's got a gift. He's got a great voice. He looks really good for his age, like many guys who either have good genes or take care of themselves. In the case of Daltrey, I think it might have been both. So anyway, folks, I don't know if you believe Pete Townshend's explanation for what happened back in 2002. I think it's very flimsy. Why would you ever use a credit card to access a site like that? I just, unless, again, that you were really into this stuff and you didn't care. I mean, you're Pete Townshend. What are you thinking? This is an old dude, and he was not as old at the time, but he was an old enough dude to probably know better, but maybe he didn't understand technology that everybody could trace it back to him, especially if his name is on the card. And the police obviously had all the information they needed in order to make an arrest, which they did. So that's the topic. It's a controversy that obviously hasn't completely gone away, but I think over time, people tend to forget. People tend to forgive, especially if he's not out there doing more. Let's pray that he isn't. And with that, snakes in paradise. No coincidence there. Just wanted to showcase this album today. It's called Step Into the Light. And again, if you like Bad Company and Whitesnake together, kind of mashed together, very organic, very good music, great material, and something different to listen to. Also, please support the channel if you can via Patreon, also YouTube memberships, where folks can see the videos before everyone else sees them. Early watching privileges. My voice kind of weak today. Just talking too much lately. So anyway, thanks for watching. God bless everyone. Please pray for peace in the Middle East and around the world. Always pray for peace. War really sucks, and we need, for this stuff to stop. God bless, and see you soon.